What's up? A to Z Sports here live on a Monday, another losing Monday. The Titans dropped to 3-10 on the season. That's pretty close, that record, pretty close to the final score yesterday, 10-6. The Jags beat the Titans. Titans kept out of the end zone, but there were a lot of, quote, positive things to take away from that game, according to Brian Callahan, which I think is the first real game that Brian Callahan might be facing some fire and a little bit of heat. So we'll discuss that as the Titans' first-year head coach drops to 3-10. A lot of bad missed opportunities in the first half. Will Levis almost getting hurt in the end of that first half, and then a second half of nothing as the Jags score 10 fourth-quarter points to beat the Titans in Nissan Stadium in the rain. 3-10 is the record for the Titans and the Jags. The Titans are now fourth place in the AFC South, so we'll talk about positive takeaways, mostly negatives. What's going on with Brian Callahan and his situation. Jeffrey Simmons also had some very frustrated words. He is losing words to describe these losses these days, but we're going to get through all of that. And Zach, it's also a Monday, which means the age game is where we'll wrap up. It is my turn to toss you a person that you guess their age, and we'll see if you can get it correct. We're trying to race to the first six correct before we end the age game, but hope you had a good weekend. Welcome in. Let's get this thing off and rolling here on a Monday.
Yeah, a lot to get to as we broadcast live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We got you locked in and loaded right there. If you are on YouTube, we will tweet out those YouTube links segment by segment. So on Twitter/X, make sure you follow us at A to Z Sports. If you're a Titans fan, you can also follow our company-wide Twitter/X handle at A to Z Sports NFL, where we've got a bunch of NFL content going in there. But follow A to Z Sports. We will tweet out those segments so you can get in on the action. If you are on YouTube, the best way to watch our live shows and interact with us is by having your live alerts on. So live alerts, there's a bell icon on YouTube. Hit that bell icon. If you have not already, make sure you like this show. It helps distribution to other Titans fans. And subscribe to the channel. You can go on YouTube, type in A to Z Sports Nashville, and you can see us there on our logo and hit the subscribe button. That is the best way to get involved there. So on Facebook, bottom left corner of your screen, share, not a public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. Share the show around. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. How that works is you guys share it and more people get involved as we ask questions, interact with the chat throughout every single weekday morning show at 8 a.m. We also have primetime with Buck Rising in the evenings and everything in between. So a lot to get to on another loss on a Monday against the worst team in the league, at least used to be the worst team in the league, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
Let's do it. We might as well rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get it going officially. Welcome in the A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are Nashville's on-demand sports.network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. You got to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. WilsonCountyHyundai.com in Lebanon. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. FBHP.com/ATOZ. And TDOT, help keep Tennessee beautiful by joining TDOT's campaign to find a solution to end littering across our state at NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. So, Zach, the Titans dropped to 3-10 in a 10-6 loss to the Jags. The Titans were up 6-0 the majority of the game. All 10 Jags points come in the fourth quarter. A touchdown run there by Bigsby, breaking through some tackles, and Mac Jones threw 2 first-half interceptions. A lot of bad things to get to, but we're going to start here with our one word, because in our post-game show, we always do our one words, and I will give Easton Freeze credit. He has done a good job of upping the level of one words from the chat and improving everybody's vocab by challenging the vocabulary of the chat. So one words are getting more impressive as this season is getting less impressive on the football field. So, Zach, my one word was a meme. I used the word wasted as the Grand Theft Auto meme of this Titans team is wasted, like the whole like black and white screen with the red wasted. I might go make that for social media later on, but that was my one word. Zach, what is your one word to discuss as the Titans drop to 3-10 on the season?
Well, I think yesterday, I think it embodied the word of missing, because they're missing touchdowns, they're missing opportunities, they're missing blocks. All of these things that we saw yesterday at home against, again, then the worst team in the NFL with a really bad defense. And they were missing in action. Opportunity at the end of the game to go down and score, extend. I mean, passing yards missing. And am I upset because I had Will Levis over 175 passing yards and he couldn't even do that because he can't move the ball at the end of the game when you have an opportunity? The offense missing, first down missing, second down missing, third down missing, fourth down, high, overthrow, incomplete, missing. That's my one word. This is a bad football team, so I didn't expect it to be but if a bad football team can't beat a worse football team at home, you got problems. And so that's my one word. 3-10 embodies of what this team is. They are who they are. They are not any better than 3-10. They're not.
No, I mean they're at. I mean they early in the season, I think in the month of September, there was the whole conversation that was valid at the time of this team is better than the record says, and I think that was true in September. I do. But the first two games of the season, the Titans should have won. But both of those teams have since fired their head coach. So it's like, what was the quality of win / the quality of loss?
Right, but I actually. You are what you are, especially early in the season, and the Titans were an inexperienced, top-heavy team, right? So in the sense of their quarterback and their head coach were making mistakes of an inexperienced quarterback and head coach, and that's why they lost games, right? They had leads that they relinquished. So, I don't even think they should have won those games looking back on it, because they didn't have the experience to go close out. And you're looking at today, what have they learned from, right? I mean, they've had their ups and downs. That happens through the more games you play, the more you learn about a team, right? But this result is pretty there it is. Yesterday
was damning. Yesterday was very damning on the franchise and damning on everybody involved in that result. Yesterday from the Titans, losing 10-6, not scoring a touchdown. That was the worst offensive performance. And overall, you're watching this team and they are under 50% touchdowns in red zone trips this year. There are so many wasted opportunities and missed opportunities, to put our two words together, on moving the football successfully, getting into the red zone, and either kicking a field goal or turning the ball over on downs and not being able to convert on fourth down. And look, hindsight's 2020, but if they just would have kicked the field goal twice on the two turnovers on downs, then they would have won the game 12-10, because they'd have been only down 10-9 when they needed a score, a field goal late.
Ifs and buts, beers and nuts.
I know, but it's just showing you of the ineptitude that is piling up with this organization. So, Zach, let's go ahead and hear from the head coach, Brian Callahan, and not a very good spot in his post-game press conference. This is how Brian Callahan opened his post-game presser after the Titans lost 10-6 and dropped to 3-10 on the season.
A lot of positive things, disappointed in the outcome, but our defense played their tails off today. I thought we covered well on special teams. They were challenged to not let them start outside the 30. We never let them do that. We played great run defense for most of the game. And then at the end of the day, we needed to score in the red zone. We were 0 for 2 down there, and that's the difference in a tight ball game, in a divisional game. And that's you got to score touchdowns down there, and we didn't. So we're 0 for 2, and that's the difference in the ball game. Again, I thought there was a lot of positive things. We put ourselves in position and didn't execute when we had to have it the most, which is down there tight. Again, I'm disappointed in the outcome, certainly. But at the end of the day, we didn't do enough to win again. So go ahead.
You didn't score a touchdown against arguably the worst team in the league. A lot of positive things is the first thing you take from that?
I wasn't talking about the touchdowns. We need to score touchdowns in the red zone, certainly. Didn't do enough good on offense to be able to score points, and we lost the game. So, yeah, there's positive things to point out, but ultimately we didn't score enough points to win, so that is what it is.
What do you mainly attribute offensively? So much progress for this group over the last month or whatever, and then against one of the worst defenses, it feels like it all went away.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to watch the film. I'll get back to you.
I mean, I feel like so many people probably had the same reaction of starting it off with a lot of positive things, and you're just like, God, just don't say that.
He's an inexperienced head coach. The first-year head coach is coming out. He's not coached well. Like Brian Callahan is not coached well. I'll say that. And he hasn't made. You mentioned the Bears coach, Eberflus. You talk about putting your foot in your mouth after you completely ruin an opportunity at clock management, which is the coach's job, in front of everybody in the country, in the world. And you sit there and say, I wouldn't have done anything differently. These are poorly coached coaches. Brian Callahan is a poorly coached coach. The PR team, somebody needs to call him and say, this is what you do. This is what you don't do. This is who you talk to. This is who you don't talk. But he's not getting that type of coaching, and it's coming out. Because to be honest, to react just candidly, Austin, there are some positive things in a really bad thing. And I'll tell you a couple of them, right?
Okay.
They continue to run the ball with Tony Pollard. They had over 100 yards rushing. That's somewhat positive. Their penalties were down, right? They only had 4 penalties for 25 yards. There's 2 positives. Third positive, they didn't get sacked 7 times. They got sacked 20 times in 3 weeks. They only got sacked twice. Now, one of them was pretty negative, right, at the end of the half. But, that is what that is. So, but
I'll throw
the room.
I'll throw a fourth. No special teams gaps, right?
That's a surprise. There's 4 positives, right? But you know what you don't do when you walk into a room after you have not scored a touchdown and, to Paul Kowarski and Sam Phelan's point, gotten beaten by the worst team, the worst defense, a division rival at home. You don't start with positives. You don't do it. You start with, that can't happen. We've got to win that game. We've got to make the plays down the stretch to continue. There are close games in the NFL. We can't lose them like that we just did. That's what you have to say. But Brian Callahan is not coached well. Somebody needs to help him.
I agree. I am right there with you. I think that is dead on. He is not being helped. Brian Callahan has a lot of things on his plate, and he's talked about this. The first time he's ever had the attention on him, he talked about, remember the whole, what the F were you doing, Will, week 2 after the underhand toss, the Tajay fumble against the Jets when the cameras caught him. But who is there to assist this guy to make sure that he doesn't do something like that? I think that's the extra frustrating thing here, because that's avoidable.
We're on the topic. Let's ask the question. What would you do? You're the franchise, right? The franchise, Rand Carthon and Amy Adams Strunk hired him, right?
Yeah.
He did enough to win a coaching job opportunity that is only 1 out of 32 in this world, right? That's hard to do. That's not easy. So he did something to put himself in position to be here. But what should they do to help their coach?
Yeah. I
or
think,
is it up to them, right?
It should be.
How do we problem solve this? Because you can't do that, because you know exactly what's going to happen. You're going to have a question from Paul Kowarski saying positive things. What are you talking about? Then you're going to have a follow-up from Sam that says, well, you game plan, you didn't score any points. What happened? Why didn't it come to fruition? And he responds out of frustration, I'll have to watch the film. That's called deflection.
Yeah, but again, like I think
He could say that at every question.
Yeah, I know that, but like I think in that there are some questions in post-game press conferences that need to be answered with I want to go double check. And it's not the coach being a jerk or, dismissing or deflecting. It's I don't want to give you an answer that's inaccurate off the top of my head right now.
I disagree. I think in that situation, it was a follow-up after he had just gotten pressed and he wanted to move on.
Yes, I agree with that. I'm saying I think it was the right second follow-up from Sam, and Callahan out of frustration answered it that way, but it's also like not an unfair way to answer that question. I think it just was extra bad because it was the third in a row of the bad. So my answer is like, yeah, somebody's got to help him out here. Like and I know like there are quick interactions with team media relations and PR and the head coach and the players before that podium is approached. After every moment that there's a podium, team coach or player walks through and there's some interaction, but like lead with the obvious. Lead with the obvious. Don't be a story. Right?
I know it's an experience, but I want a coach that knows that stuff. Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to again, I don't want to have to teach some pretty basic things. When you lose to the worst team, a division rival at home, and you don't score a touchdown, you have to come in there and you start with what just happened. You can intertwine. Again, we listed 4 positive things that happened, right? Just off the top of our head. You can intertwine that in to what you're talking about, but damn it, don't lead. Don't lead with it.
I'm with you. Look, I think we are both on the same page here. Brian Callahan is a positive person. He's an optimistic person. He thinks that way. And that's not a bad thing. It has to be used the right way. So let's go negative here. All right, let's talk about hot seat, because somebody asked the question. I think it was Orlando, said, where's the fire at on his seat right here? Well, that was our first question of the day. Where does Brian Callahan's hot seat level sit for you after the 10-6 Titans loss to the Jags? We're going to go a 1 through 10 scale. And
real quick.
Sorry.
I have a question. Is this the first, because we need to date this.
I was going to say that. Yep.
December 9th. If this is the first time we've ever talked about it in year 1 about hot seat.
Last week, Easton and I reacted to Bill Barnwell naming Brian Callahan one of 6 coaches that were on the hot seat facing pressure. And Easton and I went through and said, where is Callahan on like most fired to least fired? And so we said he was tied with Gerard Mayo at 5th or 6th at the very end of that. So that was Wednesday of last week. So, but this is the first time we have asked a question about how hot is Brian Callahan's seat. So where does it sit? 1 through 10. Titans just lose 10-6 to the Jags. Where does Brian Callahan's hot seat sit? 1 through 10. Zach, first tell us all about our friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. You can get a quote after you take a health assessment. It's quite easy. They've got 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee, and they've been in business over 75 years. They are trusted by A to Z Sports. They're trusted by the Tennessee Titans, by the Tennessee Volunteers, the playoff-bound Tennessee Volunteers, the Nashville Predators. Tons of great organizations across the state utilize their services. You can too. Health, dental, and vision. Visit Farm Bureau Health Plans at FBHP.com. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans, FBHP.com/ATOZ. And you can get a quote today. They've been great partners for a very, very long time. They can be a great partner to you. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee.
And BetMGM, I lost a lot of bets on the Titans game yesterday. But hey, had a big college football Saturday for championship weekend. So was evening out a little bit. But BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas, that's where you should turn to. Download the BetMGM app. Use our code when you sign up for the first time, ATOZ Sports. You get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. So go big on that first bet. They've also continued to pepper you, give you odds boosts and tokens and all these different fun features. I know I've got a pro football odds boost I can use on a same game parlay for tonight's game. So there's a lot of different ways you can use BetMGM. College basketball is rolling. That I've got college basketball odds boost to try to help acclimate myself to that sport in its new season. So BetMGM continues to give, even after that great first bet offer of up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses, but you got to sign up with our bonus code ATOZ Sports. Zach, a lot of answers to the question of Brian Callahan's hot seat. Where is it sitting on a 1 through 10 scale after the Titans lose 10-6 to the Jags yesterday? What are you seeing here from the chat?
So Bustin' Diamond starts us out, says his seat is warm but not getting fired. And I feel like that's a barometer of, I think, where the numbers were about
1 through 10. Yeah.
I think he probably answers down the line. But what I'm saying is that it's a good barometer of, I feel like, where people, I mean, this is why we're asking the question is warm. It's not cold. I'll just say that, right? Clayton Smith says 3, so we're starting low. Anthony goes 8. John goes 1. Gene Gray goes 6. Troy says Callahan will be here 3 years. So Troy, we'll register that, and we'll see if that comes to fruition. Drew says 10 plus. Nathan goes 6. IR goes 3. Louis goes 11. Eric 4. Scorching from Raven. Bustin' Diamond goes 4, right? So he did answer eventually, but sets the table at 4 there. Steven with 10. His ask is Scorching from Christian. Darren goes 9. Curtis 6. Richard 3. Jaron 8. Solid 7 from Mark Dalton. 4.9 from Stephen Jones. Scott Weaver 6. Patrick and Kenneth both go 7. So does Big Ten Jeff. Big Ten Jeff, a little rivalry maybe on the horizon there, right there. Rashid goes 6.
Oh, maybe about that. Yeah.
I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of 7s, and then some 8s and 6s and 4s. So a little bit all over the place, which is not surprising based on a coach being in his first year and not even completing his first season. Titans Kyle goes 5.32. So Austin, where do you reside on this on a scale of 10? He was fired yesterday, and 1, you guys are overreacting. There's no way that his seat is anywhere close to being hot.
Honestly, this is hard. Because before yesterday's game, I was probably at a 1.5. Like, I felt like there was clear progress with the offense, and the defense has a lot of injuries, and some rotating door at a lot of positions with those injuries and lack of depth. But the offense was getting better. I'm trying to decide how much one game can change. If I was at a 1.5 yesterday, I still am under the 5 fence. I'm going to say 4.5. I think that's a really big jump. Really big jump. I think there was a lot of understanding going into this season from internal conversations with the Titans that they were going to be going through some stuff. They are definitely disappointed at this, but I don't think that they were expecting to make the playoffs or do some real damage in the league. And I think they were going to give them time regardless. So I'm going to say they're 4.5 out of 10 hot seat right now. And that's a big jump from where I was at before yesterday's game at a 1.5.
Yeah, I'll be honest. My number didn't change from yesterday to today.
Really?
It is a 3. I don't think he's getting fired. I mean, he's really going to have to. I mean, they're 3-10. I mean, can you get much worse? I mean, I guess you can. You can lose out, but Vegas and the Giants are only a 2-win team, right? So, like, I think this was a rebuild based on, and I think the franchise needed to do this. Obviously, they had to basically tear everything down from Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, Mike Vrabel era, right? They had to tear everything down and restart. Doesn't mean what you restart is where eventually you end up. But after 13 games in 14 weeks, I don't think a knee-jerk reaction is going to happen from Amy Adams Strunk when it comes to the head coach. Now, change can happen from different places, and change can happen in the offseason, but I don't think Brian Callahan is going to get fired. And that truly is what the question is asking, right? Because 10 is being you're fired. 1 is being we're not. I think that 3 is right where he is because he's a 3-win coach. And the expectations of this franchise and the roster are they're going to need better players. Now, the coaches have to help those players. And Will Levis is still an experiment and all that. We've talked a lot through that over the last couple of weeks. But I am at a 3. What I will say is I'll double down on what I started the show at. He needs coaching help.
Mm-hmm.
He needs somebody to tell him how fans and media, we've reacted the same way for years. I mean, we react the same way in this same spot for years, whether it was Ken Whisenhunt or Mike Vrabel or Mike Munchak or any coach in the NFL. It's pretty standard, but somebody needs to tell coach that. Like, I would volunteer, honestly, I would volunteer to have a conversation with him and let's just hash out these are kind of the do's and don'ts when it comes to media. These are the do's and don'ts when you win and when you lose. Mm-hmm. You don't want to fall on the sword, so you're telling your owner, fire me, but you also don't want to deflect and just say there were positive things after you just got beat by a division rival at home who was terrible, right? So, like, but somebody needs to have that conversation with him. I think that leads into, like, leadership, carrying the torch, doing all of those things, which I've been critical of Brian Callahan for the last 14 weeks. Yeah. I maintain that criticism.
Yeah, I mean,
his leadership skills have got to improve. Can they? I don't know. But a leader doesn't do some of the things that he has done, and he got to learn quick.
Yeah. Because, like, the football stuff isn't as bad as I think the record shows. Does that make sense?
I mean, as a offensive
like you can
quarterback whisperer, you know,
we haven't talked about Will Levis yet. We're 27 and a half minutes into the show. We have really not discussed Will Levis because Brian Callahan on 4th down and goal drew up a great play for Will Levis to throw a touchdown to go up 10-0. And Will Levis didn't see it. And he said yesterday, Will Levis did, that it really sucks when you let the ball go in the air. You notice the other guy is wide open, not the guy you threw to. That's tough. Like, Will Levis was the problem there, not Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan did his job perfectly. Chigakonkwo could have, like, baked a cake and caught the football for a touchdoall. And so, like,
got to execute, right?
I know.
Josh Allen was executing, right? Like, Matthew Stafford was hitting the guys, you know, like, those are, and I hate to say, they're excuses. They're not reasons in this league.
But I'm just trying to go through and diagnose the actual problems. And Will Levis took a massive step backwards after taking 4 steps forward in a row. Right? 4 games in a row, he went the correct direction. Yesterday was backward for Will Levis as an individual. Brian Callahan is being punished for that. It's his job. He should be punished for that because the quarterback is what he's tied to.
For now.
This one, yes. And then they have one more mulligan card on the quarterback for Brian Callahan.
So the chat is higher, and there's reaction to it. The chat is higher than you and I. You're at a 4.5. I'm at a 3. I'm basing a lot of my assessment on the situation overall, not necessarily the game and then the sound bite and all of that. But 3-10 is bad, and losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who they should have fired their coach, weeks ago, right?
A month ago, yeah, in London.
But Shad Khan's not going to do that. It doesn't appear.
And Jake asked the question, why were Chig and Nick Vannett so close together on that play? They weren't. One was on the goal line. One was in the back of the end zone. That's how you layer tight ends in that type of play.
Well, and I think when the ball was thrown, he drifted back.
Chig did.
Yeah.
Chig drifted back because he's like, I'm wide open. That's got to be going to me, right? So the play was there. It just the execution from the quarterback flat out missed. Okay. I did put up a poll, Zach, on YouTube for our hot seat. Now we only have 4 maximum options on our poll question, so I had to kind of cut them up into 4 different groups. But I did 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 and 8, and 9 and 10. So 4 through 6 is the most popular answer at 42% of the votes. I think Brian Callahan's hot seat is right there in the middle, 4 through 6. The next highest is 22% at 1 to 3. So you're in the second most popular at your 3. And then a 20% clip at 7 to 8, and 18 are at 9 and 10. So it's pretty spread out. Like there's a good group of people. 38% of people are 7 to 10, which there are 4 more games left. There is room for those numbers to continue to go up. And is there a situation where he is let go at the end of the season? I think there is. Does it happen? Does it materialize? I don't know. But I definitely think that there could be a situation on the table for that to happen. It's just what does that look like? We don't know.
Internally, there's 2 reasons why you fire people. External and internal. External, 3 and 10's bad. Internal, if you like the guy, if he says all the right things, if he builds relationships, if he does those type of things, that's something that we don't see, right? Internal communication with Rand, with Amy, and with the higher ups. So if Brian is doing that well, that's where I think he probably gets more benefit of the doubt for another year. And then here's something that we talk about, but I think about more than, I don't know, anybody, is you got to think about what year does the new stadium open?
Yeah.
2027. That plays a part in this. It does, because they can't be 3 and 10 in their new stadium. Come to our new house. Because you know what? That would just be the visitors filling up their new house. They're trying to get hometown fans to come experience it. And really, Austin, what they've got to do, the Preds did this well during their height of their Stanley Cup run, is they converted a bunch of non-hockey fans, non-Nashvillians into Predators fans. How do you now, during that time they did. I mean, you can't deny that. The experience did that, right?
The non-hockey stuff did it.
The experience did that. That's what the Titans are going to try to bank on with the experience of the new stadium. And what their job is going to have to be is everybody that has moved to this city from out of town, how do you kind of wet their whistle to say, I'll cheer for the two-tone blue? Look, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers, or I like the 49ers, or I'm a Cowboys fan, or I'm a Packers fan. But my second team is the Titans because they're good. I like going to their games. They're well coached. They got good players. Like, that's what they've got to work towards right now at 3 and 10. I think we can all agree they're a far way away from that. And when are they going to change so they're not a far way away from that? In 2027.
Yeah, and then you learn from the Preds, because the Preds did have lightning in the bottle, and at the time it looked like they capitalized, but instead I think they fumbled it because I
didn't say what they did afterwards.
Yeah,
I said what they did during their run.
It did not sustain.
I think some of that was hockey.
And some of their own britches get a little too big.
I don't disagree
and
with
actually
that.
Phasing out the real fans. All right.
People needed to love hockey, and they loved the experience, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think they fell short.
Yep. All right. So Jeffrey Simmons, Zach, listen to this sentence I'm about to say. Jeffrey Simmons said a lot about the Titans, even when he couldn't find the words to say it. We're going to get to that video from Jeffrey Simmons. yesterday in the locker room after the loss. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn whenever injuries pop up, like they do in football. Injuries in football guaranteed in life as well. But the Bone and Joint Institute has all the experts and the resources under one roof in Franklin, Tennessee, right off of Highway 96 and I-65, next door to Williamson Medical Center. They can do it all. They can get you in there for the clinic, for the imaging, for the testing, for the experts right there that run their clinics. They've also got the surgery center and the rehab facility all in one spot. So you're not remembering what appointment goes where. They also do have convenience for you. So they do have clinics and rehab facilities across Williamson County and growing as well. But the Bone and Joint Institute is the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you need them for that injury that's lingering or hanging on longer than you wanted it to, go book an appointment online. They do a fantastic job of getting you in, diagnosed, treated, and out, and not have bad doctor's office waiting time experiences. I can speak on that. In and out very efficiently. Book an appointment when you need them online, boneandjointtn.org.
It is the sports. We are powered by BetMGM. We love BetMGM. I made 2 bonehead bets yesterday. And conceptually, they made a lot of sense prior to Sunday's games. And afterwards, I was like, you're stupid, Zach. Over 175 passing yards for Will Levis. Can't even do that. And then
175, man. I took it at 211.
I didn't even want to do that. He couldn't even do 175 against a bad defense. My other thing that I paired that with was Caleb Williams over 200 passing yards against the 49ers because I thought they were going to be down and he was going to be passing, and he couldn't even get to 150. So bad bets happen, but you get back on the horse. And tonight, Monday Night Football, Cowboys and Bengals opportunity there. You've got college basketball, college football on the horizon. The NBA is always sprinkling around. That I hadn't talked. Jason Tatum was under 30.5 points, the one bet that I gave out. So there you go. BetMGM can realize your dreams in prop bets and everything in between. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports to download the app today.
All right, so Jeffrey Simmons said a lot about this Titans team without really knowing the words to pick. Here is Jeffrey Simmons, the Titans defensive lineman, highest paid guy on the roster in the locker room, very over it with this losing season.
I'm in football. I've been preaching all year. We fixed the mistakes from the run game last week. Came in here with a mindset, got back to all-style, stopped the run. I mean, even on that one they scored on, just got to get them on the ground. We knew they weren't going to be able to run the ball inside. He bounced the ball, just got a tackle on the head, but it's just frustrating. We talk about it all week. We got to play complementary football, and 2 turnovers, and if you win a turnover margin, there's no way you shouldn't win the game. So at the end of the day, I'm really just tired of saying the same shit. This sucks, and apparently we're not in a position, and we don't do enough to win games. And all the way around, I'm tired of seeing our quarterback on the ground. I'm tired of seeing him squirreling on the damn ground. Actually, he getting his block knocked off by the edge guys, and I don't know, man. Like this, it's frustrating to see that, and especially right before the half, we know we're throwing the ball. Like we know they finna rush. It's frustrating. Like I said, at the end of the day, I'm tired of saying we got to do better, we got to play better. And it just, I don't know. I don't have no answers. Just complimentary football wasn't there.
No answers from Jeff, but tired of seeing Levis getting his block knocked off. Now, Roz Biggie said, Big Jeff knows Levis ain't the guy. I didn't get that from that video. Big Jeff, to me, sounds like he likes what Levis shows. He just can't get any help because, for whatever reason, J.C. Latham didn't decide to pass protect with 1 second left in the first half. Now, whether I thought it was a bad decision to try to do that. You struggle protecting your quarterback all season long. Don't let them pin their ears back after 1 second on the clock and go make something disastrous happen. But
that's hindsight. You throw the Hail Mary in there.
I don't know. Easton and I literally.
He has the arm like that. He's young. I'm telling you the hindsight.
Easton and I getting ready for the halftime show. We're sitting right here, not live, but right here. Like, hey, you think they do something 1 second left? And Easton goes, Callahan said in a press conference earlier he doesn't like doing that. He doesn't like risking the bad thing that could happen. I was like, yeah, Carson Beck just got ripped yesterday doing that. And then bang, what happened? Levis down, squirreling around on the ground, same shoulder falls on. JC Latham fell asleep at the wheel. And so like that wasn't the hindsight. That was the pre-halftime show conversation right before it happened. And it was miserable to watch. And so Jeff is pissed, right? I had to bleep out a cuss word there because I didn't want to play that one necessarily over the air. But Jeff is over it with that. Zach, what do you think about Jeff Simmons right there?
Well, I felt like and I know it's not the same and you can't say this, but that's the type of energy that honestly Brian Callahan should have started his press conference with, right? I would never say that, Jeff Simmons sounded pretty spot on through that clip, right? I mean, I don't disagree with the single thing that he said. Now, he can be more critical of his teammates and all that stuff. Brian Callahan kind of has to watch who he's throwing under the bus, right? And Jeffrey Simmons has earned that right as a captain, as a leader, as a Pro Bowler. I mean, all of that stuff, right? So like there's that. But I don't disagree with anything that he said, and I'm sure he is tired of it. Nobody likes playing on a losing football team, especially a 3-10 football team that can't score. I mean, they can't compete because they can't score. And that's why they've gotten blown out several times this year is if they can't compete against the worst team in the league at home, that's why they can't compete with the best team in the league, the Detroit Lions, and get their ass kicked. And I think it's a telling sign of how Jeff and probably the rest of the roster feels, and they're not doing enough to change it. They may not have enough to change it, but they're sure as hell not doing enough to change it.
Yeah. I'm seeing some comments come through. Amber says Levis can't score. Yesterday, Levis could not score. I feel like all of their red zone failures, as I mentioned earlier in the show, the Titans are under 50% rate scoring touchdowns in drives that get to the red zone. I think you can look at them, and there's so many different people and things to blame for why that red zone trip didn't work and this red zone trip didn't work. Yesterday, it was Levis missed the open receiver and Chig. They've had penalties lose it. In Washington, they had a bad snap miscommunication on a key third down that Levis said afterwards thought he was confident in that being a touchdown, and they had to kick a field goal. There's so many like under 40-yard field goals that Nick Folk has drilled this year because they have had something fall apart. A false start, a penalty, a hold, a drop pass, a missed throw, an open receiver, bad pass protection, a fumble, an interception, of whatever it is that have just cost them points. And I don't know what you can't, it's not just one thing like Levis can't score. No, the whole team can't score. That's why I keep coming back to the word composure. They can't keep their composure when they get in the red zone.
DeAndre Hopkins can't.
They're fine at moving the football between the 20s, but when they get there, they can't, they lock up and they can't figure it out.
Yeah, but it's a product of, I know, I think it's a little skewed because you said a short time ago how much, Levis has improved over 4 weeks and then took a step back, right?
Yes.
Well, the second half of the Texans game, he made one play and Chig made most of it, right? Besides that, it was awful. The Commanders game, they got blown out.
Not his fault. Will Levis had 10 snaps and it was 21-0.
And right, it's a product of
because he is his best teammate, Tony Pollard, fumbled. And then maybe his worst teammate, it was benched yesterday, by the way. Didn't talk about that.
But
Jaquan
you
Jackson
are a team, right? Like
right.
you're only as good as the guys around you. It wasn't Will Levis's fault that JC Latham, the first round pick, had a lapse of judgment and got his AC joint disrupted again, right? Like that's not Will Levis's fault. But, and here's the cold hard truth, no one cares. Because at the end of the day, if Levis doesn't perform, they'll find somebody else that will, whether it's all Levis's fault. How many times, I'm sure David Carr was a product of bad offensive line play for the Houston Texans way back when. That wasn't all his fault that he was getting sacked the most in NFL history, right? Like, sometimes it doesn't matter, right? So, right. But sometimes what I'm saying is, like, it doesn't matter, and it's up to the team to figure it out. And I think that's where the frustration of Jeff comes in, Brian Callahan and Will Levis. But I guess to shift real quick, Austin, so you're 3-10.
Yeah.
You've got, games left. Bengals, Colts, Jags, Houston. 3 out of your next 4 division, rivals per se. Like,
and your former employer.
What is the expectation? Like, we'll find out more about the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a unique team. I think they're bad, but they're good. I can't, they're not as bad as the record says.
Their offense is very good. Their defense is very bad. Therefore, their team, their very bad defense is worse than their very good offense is good.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're bad.
So, yeah, they're bad. Well, so now you're facing a bad team. The Colts, somewhat of a bad team.
Colts are bad. Jags are a bad team. The Texans, you beat them once. You can beat them again, maybe. I'm not betting on it, but I'm just saying you beat them once, then why not? Like,
you'll be wearing the Oilers uniform, so maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Levis looked good in those last year.
So I think that's why, to circle back to the 3 that I'm at on Brian Callahan, is like, you could lose out, and I don't think that there's going to be wholesale changes that we saw, because wholesale changes were last year. You got to avoid getting blown out, but they didn't get blown out yesterday. That was a close game that they lost.
Right. But like you bring up, if they win yesterday, then now you're 4-9 and you've got winnable games left to really build that momentum. Be the Detroit Lions in Dan Campbell's first year.
I'm on the other side, and I can say this because I don't work for the Titans. They need to lose.
Okay.
They need to lose out.
So
they don't need to win another game. You need to pick top 5 to get a better player that can help you. That's what you need to do. You don't need to win.
Well,
nobody's going to say it, so I'm going to.
I get it, but they've got to show positive things to keep this.
They don't have enough of those.
I know, but they need to show some of the positive processes. That's the point. All right, a couple of comments.
Yeah. I want to bring up that, because this kind of goes in. Andre says, y'all shouldn't have had such high expectations this year. Yeah, I was screaming that from the rafters after my 73-day hiatus, and I came back here. People would pick 9-win seasons, 10-win seasons. I picked 7, and I didn't even want to. I really thought 6, but it is what it is. I didn't expect them to be a good team. They're a bad team. What we talked about is they may have won one of those 2 games at the beginning, right? Because flip of the coin. But overall, they're a bad football team that can't beat a worse football team. So, Andre, I agree with you. I think Titans fans, it's hard, but shouldn't have had as high expectations as they did for Will Levis and the whole group based on their win total.
Yeah, 2 comments that made me laugh, because I brought up the Texans were an expansion team when David Carr was getting killed. Jason just says, can we get an expansion team? And then Big Ten Jeff, who I have a feeling I'm going to be going to battle with for the next 2 weeks, says the Colts are better than the Titans, when Zach said the Colts are a bad team. The Colts are better than the Titans, but that doesn't mean they're not a bad team, Jeff. Yeah, I'd take Will Levis over Anthony Richardson, not to get into that again.
Yeah, the Colts are Jekyll and Hyde, right? Anthony Richardson can have a good game. I mean, they made the play to beat New England 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but New England is also a bad team.
Well, the Titans.
No,
what happened in that game?
No, I know the Titans and the Colts beat the Patriots together, right? Close. Oh my God, Henry. So is A to Z officially off the Glaze train? Y'all are out of your minds after the Texans win. Like, come on, dude. Like, you can't loop or group all of our opinions into one thing. There are 5 people that regularly talk about the Titans every week on our company's platform, and we all 5 have very different opinions about everything.
Yeah. I've maintained that they've been a bad team since training camp, Henry. So if you watch Monday's show, I have never once said they're a good team. And there wasn't anybody glazing. There wasn't no donut glaze going on here. You know what I brought up? How bad their second half was. I literally sat there, punt, 3 and out, the Chig touchdown, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out downs, right? So and everybody was getting pissed at me because I was saying how bad they were through the third and fourth quarter. So maybe you need to go to Fox's Donut Den and get glazed up yourself. But it wasn't for me.
Anthony says Easton will continue to say the coaches and team have so much potential. Well, wait till you read what Easton's got in store for today, because he's texting me about that article he's got in the oven. All right, let's get to some super chats here on the show, because you guys have sent us in some good super chats. We'll get to those here in a moment before we get to the age game. But T-Dot is out there trying to help out our state and your community stay clean and end littering. Be part of the solution to end littering across our state. A lot of people, it's a holiday season. You're traveling, you're on the interstates a lot, and you're just driving by, and you're just seeing litter all over the place on the interstates, all over the place on our highways and roads. 88 million pieces of litter across our state, and TDOT spends $23 million every year, and it's still a problem. We can all jump in and help out. It's super easy to do that. Just stop littering. If you're driving down the street, don't let things fly out of your vehicle, unbeknownst. Like, pay attention to that stuff. But also, you can join in to the organized litter cleanups that TDOT has set up by visiting NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. That's NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. You can save money on events by taking a litter quiz and get discount on events near you. That's just easy to do. If your kids are looking for some volunteer experience, have them check out NobodyTrashesTennessee.com during the holiday break, right there at NobodyTrashesTennessee.com.
A to Z Sports powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today. The sportsbook born in Vegas is in Tennessee. So if you are in Tennessee, use that bonus code ATOZ Sports. It's ATOZ Sports, all one word. Download today. You got Monday Night Football, as I mentioned, college basketball, the NBA, and college football playoff on the horizon. So get in on the action. Download BetMGM.
All right, Bradley comes up with the first super chat saying 2 touchdowns the Titans missed. Chig was open in NWI. The NWI had that ball go off his hands. Again, Easton and I talked postgame. I actually never saw I never went back and looked at the replay after the postgame show of that yesterday. I thought it would have been like a spectacular catch category if he would have gotten it. Easton said he had his hands in the triangle formation, and it went right through that triangle. And he was up in the air. It still would have been a great catch. But yeah, I mean, there's 2 touchdowns right there. There's 20 points the Titans could have had instead of the 6. But all they needed was just one of those 2 touchdowns, and they would have won the game.
Well, and NWI said post-game that he should have caught it. So if a wide receiver is saying he should have caught the ball, I'll take his word for it.
For sure. And then Max brings up, speaking of wide receivers, Max says, how long until Ridley has another mental episode? Calvin Ridley did also take the blame for the 3rd down being short right before the 4th down incompletion to NWI, saying that he read the defense wrong, thought he had a guy chasing him in cover 2 man when it was not. He should have shuttled that thing down a little bit to give him room on the sideline. Zach, you and I talked pre-show. I think we both feel like Levis did not do a good enough job there. I think it was both Ridley and Levis with a bad play, not giving the other the best opportunity to convert that 1st down.
Yeah, I mean, you can't stop on a dime, and his momentum obviously carried him out of bounds. But knowing your surrounding, it goes back to situational football, right? Your top priority on that down is moving the chains, right? And that was lost in a couple of different ways. But Will Levis got to him late. I think the one thing that I would like to go back and look at that play again is, why was Will Levis late? Was he looking for something else? Was he? Yeah. And so he waited, and he really kind of set Ridley up for failure.
Ridley should have throttled back, right? But then Levis should have gotten, both to blame there. Richard says, I'm blaming secondaries coach Steve Jackson because Jeffrey Simmons couldn't sack Jack's quarterback. Secondary coach Steve Jackson is not the right secondary coach. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of it. And, focus on the secondaries coach when the secondary players are not the players that you paid to come play starting defensive back. So interesting zoomed in look at Steve Jackson on that one. Eric says Dan Campbell was 0-10-1 his first season before getting a win. That's kind of what I was hinting at. And they did finish the season strong, and then they built on the next season. And then year 3 was last year when they went to the NFC Championship game. And then this year, the Detroit Lions, arguably the best team in football.
Yeah, but Jared Goff, who now going back, rehashing a lot of things. There are a lot of Jared Goff doubters, right? He went to a Super Bowl, but that was all McVay. Now he's done it. He's proven his worth, right? I mean, Jared Goff has proven to be a good quarterback. They traded for him. This is a different situation. They were trying to figure out how Jared Goff fit within the Lions and winning culture and all of that. But I think they're just trying to find out, can Will Levis play NFL football? And
sure. I mean, but Jared
Goff doubts where
Jared Goff was the starter.
I mean, Jared Goff to a Super Bowl.
Yes, but Jared Goff was the starter for that 0-10-1 season.
No, correct. But that was a product of a bad team around
the overall situation. Yeah, everything was new with the Lions.
We now know you get better players like they did. They perform better, and it helps Jared Goff.
They also got a lot of draft picks where they also acquired Jared Goff, and they used those very wisely.
And that's why the Titans need to lose all the rest of their games.
And then who can they trade to get that? DeAndre Hopkins, you're just hoping the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, and D-Hop plays 60% of the snaps.
Well,
so that fifth comes fourth.
Yeah, the problem is they're not the most prized, sought-after player is going to be Shedeur Sanders, right? And they're not going to be in position to hold that hostage or pick him themselves. So the next player would be Travis Hunter. Yeah.
By the way, did you see this? Travis Hunter and his fiance are having twins. So now he gets to actually coach a defensive back and a wide receiver, not just have one.
Just make sure that he doesn't talk to any cheerleaders on the sidelines.
Okay.
You didn't see that story?
I did not. No.
You got it. This is actually pretty fascinating. They were playing. It was the last game of the season. He catches the ball, goes out of bounds. There's cheerleaders, and it pans to him, and he's like looking in the distance or looking at him, like whatever. Well, after the game, they show him and his girlfriend, fiance, right? And she's giving him the business. And she's asking him, were you looking at those cheerleaders? And then there's this big to-do. And then on TikTok, they had to come on and share what their relationship standards are, which I can have my own opinion on what the future relationship is going to be. But they can't. I'll just say this. I think one of the examples was let's talk about this because this is crazy.
I don't want to.
But I will say this. This is what they said: is if they go to a restaurant, Travis Hunter, if it's a male host instead of a hostess, then Travis talks to him. If it's a hostess, then the fiance. They can't talk to each other sex. They have all these rules. So that's why I said the cheerleader thing, because I learned a lot about Travis Hunter and his relationship. Public information now, and I don't know.
Travis Hunter is a very popular guy right now. Look, I'm not getting anybody else's business, but
no, they shared their business.
I'm not. I know. I'm not. It's their business.
I didn't seek it out. The TikTok algorithm showed it to me after the thing went viral.
Anyway, back to Andre's super chat. Three complete draft class busts have left the Titans with no foundation leadership. Simmons and Landry, the highest tenured players, a roster full of mercenaries. Yeah, I mean, like with Traylon Burks' ACL injury from last week that came out, just the worst. He was the best of the 3 first-round picks that you had in a row there of Isaiah Wilson, Caleb Farley, and Traylon Burks. That's just miserable. And Andre comes back and says,
real quick, bad picks, they impact you not just year 1, year 2, year 3. It's about a 5-year period where You're starting to see that for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, the right tackle is bad right now because of Isaiah Wilson. Andre, the red zone requires Levis to read the defense and the field much faster. Both of those are where he struggles the most. All physical, but mental, I don't know. Good comment. Yeah, Levis has to process quicker. That is absolutely something that has been a problem for him. For sure. Now, look, this is ridiculous. Marvin says Burks is by far the biggest NFL draft bust. No, he's not even the second biggest of this franchise.
I mean, first is Isaiah Wilson.
Yes, played 4 snaps. Isaiah Wilson, 4 snaps.
I mean,
Three of them were on field goals. Caleb Farley?
What? Burke? I think here's the problem with Burks.
The AJ Brown trade.
The AJ trade puts him a level above Farley. Farley's playing.
Yeah, I know. Great that's awesome. Like it honestly, like good. That's awesome. That's great. But like Treylon Burks is not as big of a bust as Caleb Farley.
And that's why I say I disagree.
Okay. That's fine. I mean,
because of AJ Brown.
Okay. But Isaiah Wilson is the biggest bust in NFL history, in my opinion.
We agree on that.
4 snaps. The biggest bust in NFL draft history. So, all right. Time for the age game here to wrap up this Monday. But first, shout out to Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Zach, it is my turn to give you somebody for the age game here. So I decided to go a little on theme for what happened yesterday in sports that was not Titans related, but the Tennessee Volunteers will travel to Columbus, Ohio to face the Ohio State Buckeyes. Zach, how old is Ohio State legend Orlando Pace?
Okay. Orlando Pace Jr.
Pops. Orlando Pace. Just Orlando Pace. How old is Orlando Pace?
Man. So drafted by the Rams. He was that. Now, I think I can actually backtrack this. He was right in around that, because I usually just go on feel of what I think. But he was right around that 2000 era, maybe even late 90s. So let's just talk this through. He was 22, 23 in 2000.
Excuse me.
It's 2024. So you add, man, he was drafted in the 90s then. 24, 48. So I think he's in his 50s. He's not in his 60s. He could be in his late 40s.
I mean,
I'm gonna go 51.
51 is your answer.
Yeah, and Andre, I don't think I'm going to get this right because I was trying to reverse engineer it, but I'm going.
That's 51. The more fun way to do it. Honestly, I like picking people that we can break down like that because I like to see the process through.
My math said that I should have gone 48, but I'm going 51.
Okay.
But I gave that grace, that little. So
first guess from Sean, 64, old, way too old.
Too old.
IR, 46, too young. Anthony, 52, too old. We already knew top tier, 46, too young.
Oh, see, I'm in the range.
Too young. Jake, 56. Titans Kyle, 57. We have our winner. And this is a repeat winner. I don't know how many times. But Zach, you can go ahead and get the graphic out because you were wrong, sir. But LC Oliver, 49 is correct.
God.
Right between your 48 and 51.
I mean, I was right there.
Orlando Pace.
Right there.
Turned 49 on November 4th.
LC
So you're
Oliver.
just about a
Let's
month
see
away.
here.
LC Oliver.
LC Oliver is now a 3-time champion.
Oh, you got another player here. We're trying
Yep,
to race to
gets
6, race to the Michael Jordan number. Justin just says, I suck at the age game. Yeah, man, me too, bro. Like, it's tough. American Top was really close as well. American Top was just a couple people behind LC. Orlando also got 49 within a guess. I'm sorry, Orlando was second. No, Toff was second. Orlando was right behind him. So we had 3 people at 49. Steve Burleson said 49. So, Steven, you were not first. LC was first. I have the order.
All right, I've got 2 things. Because I have to do this because this is a Monday thing, and I've talked about it on this show now for several weeks. Here's the age game update board. LC Oliver, bottom left corner, is 3-time champion, trying to get the gold status of 4-time champion, trying to get to 6. So that is the age game leaderboard. But I saw something yesterday that is not, it's now irritating. And it's becoming, because at 3-10, I just don't believe that you need to be doing this. And my problem is that the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans is a walking billboard. He's now wearing Cuts gear at his post-game press conference because he's getting paid from Cuts, right? Cuts does endorsements all the time. And I was like, this...
Hey, Ryan Tannehill.
And you just lost. You didn't score a single point, touchdown at least. You can't throw for over 175 years, and you're endorsing Cuts in your post-game press conference. I think it's just like loser. But you can do that if you're 10-3. I believe if you're 10-3, I think I care less about it. But you're 3-10. And then here's the other thought of it, and I know that this is what the chat does. It's like, get your money. Well, because you better get your money while you can, because I don't know if you're going to be able to on the long term.
I think, look, I have no problem with that. He's wearing a hat. He either wears a Cuts hat or a Noble hat. Like, those are his main apparel things. So if anything, you know what this does? This is the Steve Jobs lack of decisions that Will Levis has to make. All he has to do is grab the Cuts hat and the Noble hat. He didn't have to think.
Well, that's carrying over onto the field too. That's the problem.
How many players in professional sports spend way too much time thinking about what they're going to wear to the game and what they're going to wear post game? No, I'm dead serious. I think I actually am fine. I don't give a damn if it's that, because
3-10.
Who cares, man? He's wearing a
Titans
hat.
fans care. Do you care that the team's 3-10?
I don't care that he's wearing a Cuts hat because he gets paid to wear Cuts stuff.
I know. It's
he's
just
wearing
a
a
3-10
he has
quarterback
to wear. He has
that
to wear
hasn't
clothes.
won anything. It just doesn't align with me.
Well, I mean, what would you rather him do? He just
Not
gets out
do
of the
that.
shower. He's got okay. Just wear. What would you rather him do? Just wear a hat? Just wear a blank hat? Would you rather him be? Oh crap! What's his name? Rob Lowe. Just wear the NFL shield hat.
You can wear, but don't try to sell us a rad-tad tee. Don't try to sell us a rad-tad tee on the weekends with Cuts. I noticed it. I had to bring it up. At 3-10, at 10-3, Austin, sell me some stuff.
He's not. He's just
at
wearing
10-3. Tell me what insurance I need to have.
This is so dumb. This is so dumb.
At 10-3. Tell me what condiment maybe I need to put on my deli sandwich. Is he talking about it,
Zach, or is he wearing clothes?
But 3-10, don't
Zach,
do
you're
that.
being insane. This
At
is
3-10.
This is stupid from you. This is stupid.
Win some games, brother, before you start selling me stuff.
He's just wearing clothes, dude.
We all know what it is.
So he's wearing clothes, man.
And I stand by that.
He wears a hat like at every post-game press conference.
No, he's selling us t-shirts.
Dude, chill. This is dumb. It's so stupid. You are looking like an idiot by doing this.
No, I'm not. Honestly, there's only one guy looking like an idiot.
This is dumb. This is stupid from you, honestly. Like, it is so irrelevant to anything because he's not up there moving around, showing bringing attention.
I didn't say he was doing that.
He's just wearing clothes at a press conference. Who cares?
He's endorsing.
Oh my God.
We all know what he's doing.
I know.
It
doesn't matter.
A long sleeve V-neck.
Huh?
Cuts. That's what Cuts is.
I wear cut stuff all the time. Cuts great.
See,
great shirts.
maybe that's why. There you go.
Ryan Tannehill wore cut shirts all the time. Cuts hats all the time.
Didn't wear Cuts hats. Wasn't endorsing them.
Yes, he was wearing Cuts hats. Yes, he was. This is stupid from you.
How many was Ryan Tannehill ever 3-10?
He was 2-6. Actually,
wasn't 3-10.
Maybe not. But who cares? Like
that's my point,
dude. He's wearing clothes.
But that's my point. Is in the history of endorsements, this is the most unique situation of a losing quarterback that has never won anything that is getting all of these endorsements. It's unique. We've never seen it before.
I agree.
Name another player that has put in this situation.
He's not in
I'm asking. No, Austin, I'm asking. Name another player.
We've had this conversation before. Will Levis has gotten national advertising with doing less than anybody else who has gotten national advertising. We've talked about this.
And that's just my point.
But him wearing a Cuts hat at a press conference is you being old man yelling at clouds.
No.
That is what you're doing. He's wearing a hat at a press conference.
I am doubling down on what you previously said about he has done less than any player in the history of modern football.
He's wearing a hat, man. Who cares?
But that's my point, is that it's more than that.
It does not. He is not disrupting. This is you looking for more stuff to be mad at.
Well, at 3-10,
he's not doing anything.
At 3-10, that's how it is.
You're off your rocker. I'm going to say you're rocker because you're acting like an old man. Don't be that. Don't be that.
These are things that I noticed.
Do not be Homer Simpson's dad right now because this is stupid.
3-10. No, stupid. I think it's understanding your
No, he's wearing a hat at a press conference. You wear clothes at press conferences.
Oh, hey, I got some people that are with me. I got some people. I've seen a couple people that are with me.
You can get mad all you want about the Mayo commercial, but for wearing a hat at a wearing a Nike
you know how I feel about the Mayo commercial. I just brought it up. I noticed it.
Stupid. You brought it up, and
wear your Cuts tee the rest of the week.
What's wrong with Cuts t-shirts? They're comfortable. They look good. They're good shirts.
There you go. Toss a hat on.
I have a Cuts hat. Who cares?
Well, we need to end the show now.
What's wrong with Cuts? Nothing's wrong with Cuts. Nothing is wrong with that. It's a fitted t-shirt. Nothing's wrong with Cuts. If you have a problem with Cuts, then
I'm not.
Clearly you do.
I'm not.
Clearly
you're not 3-10.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. What is Cuts? It's a t-shirt brand. God, this is so stupid. We have devolved to idiocy in this show. All right. That is it for us. Make sure you hit that like button, like the show before you go, subscribe to the YouTube and the Facebook page if you haven't already, and we will catch you guys tomorrow on a Tuesday. Buck Rising live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime. Brian Callahan talking to the media at noon. We'll see if he handles it better than he did yesterday. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.